Hello everyone, that Manga Kid here to do my final series review on I Am a Hero, the 22 volume series by Kengo Hanazawa. It was released in English by Dark Horse in 2-in-1 omnibus format, so there are 11 volumes in English to collect. They're pretty good quality. They're just 2-in-1s, so they're not like terribly thick, but they're definitely well constructed. And Dark Horse, these are like kind of shorter than standard volumes, so they're quite compact actually, but still easy to read. This series does not have a ton of dialogue, so the smaller format really doesn't make reading this very difficult or anything at all. Um, and it's a good price. I mean, they're like in Canada, they're like $25 a volume or something. I got them all on sale. I bought them as they came out, and so I got them around for between $15 and $20 a volume, which for 2 volumes of manga is not terrible. Uh, anyway, this is a pretty well known manga at this point, so I'm sure most of you know what it's about, but if you don't, it is about our main character here, who is uh, quite. He's struggling. He is struggling with his mental health. He sees a lot of things that aren't actually there. He hears voices. He's a struggling manga artist, and he's currently working as an assistant for a different mangaka. And but he's trying to get his own series up and running, and he's had a couple series, or one series in particular, I believe, released at some point. But he it was like a really perverted situation, like manga and a very niche sort of audience. So he really hasn't gotten off the ground, and he's quite eager to make his own manga rather than just be an assistant. And so I don't know why his I'm blanking on his name, and it's not on the back of the volume. Um, but wow, okay, that's fine. Our main character doesn't need to be named, I guess. Um, Hideo. There we go. Hideo is the main character's name. Anyway, so he lives in Tokyo, and there is a zombie outbreak. Uh, and what's really interesting at the beginning of this series, more so, is that Hideo, our main character, is so delusional and so unwell, mentally unstable, that you have no idea what is actually real and what isn't, because we start off in just normal everyday life for him, and all the voices he's hearing and the people he's seeing who don't actually exist, and then you know this zombie outbreak happens, and the whole time you're going, is this actually legitimately happening, or is he just losing it even more? And so it's very interesting, because also he is one of the only people who has a gun. He has a shotgun, and it's licensed. Like, he is a licensed gun owner, which is a little frightening in and of itself. But anyway, um, he's a licensed gun owner, so he has the upper hand when this outbreak happens, because he has a weapon, whereas most people in Japan do not have guns. And so he becomes sort of this, like, uh, I don't know. He just becomes this person who has the tool, literally, to survive, uh, but it's a little bit nuts. And so we of course meet some other people, but what I really enjoyed about this series, and I don't watch a lot or read a lot of zombie media. It's not really my thing. I don't shy away from it particularly, but I don't seek it out. But from the zombie media I have seen, what I enjoy about this one is that it really is like him and one or two other people, in terms of like who joins him, because like he's not trying to build a community, he's not trying to be a leader of any kind. The people he joins up with aren't really trying to be leaders of any kind. There are separate factions of survivors who are definitely very much forming little societies and rules and governments and all these things, and leaders and dictators basically. But And we do focus and jump around to those different groups of people at certain points in the story. But in terms of Hideo, our main character, and his like small kind of people that he interacts with throughout the series, it 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 really is just let's see what we can do here, as opposed to let's start a society and make a plan and do this. It's like, no, 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 let's just start driving and see what happens. Let's go from here to here. Let's see if we can get food over there or shelter here for tonight. And there isn't really, I don't know, it's just very fascinating. And then I don't want to give any spoilers about how the zombies in this world work or anything, but it just felt very different, and something I hadn't seen before. And it was very fascinating. There are some really cool color pages in this manga. What I like about Dark Horse when they do color pages is they don't do the glossy pages. They're just matte finish, um, with color, which I really enjoy. Uh, yeah, so there's quite throughout the manga there is a decent amount of color pages. Not every volume has color pages though, so don't get your hopes up about that. Um, what I really like the backgrounds are all full. There's quite a bit of dialogue actually in this first volume, but once things kind of get going, there's not as much dialogue. Um, but yeah, you can see like this is where he works, and all the other assistants and stuff. Like the art is really good, and the story itself is amazing. I read through these pretty quickly. They're 2-in-1 omnibuses, like I said, and I can read them in less than half an hour, maybe 30-35 minutes or so, because there isn't a ton of dialogue and it's very quick. Mostly it's very much image based storytelling, but it's very interesting, and the ending is very fascinating too. It wasn't what I was expecting at all. I don't hate it. I'm sure that some people would be dissatisfied in a way, but for me, honestly, I think that it fit very well with the story. It wasn't what I was expecting, and it was just really fascinating all the way through. This story from start to finish kept me on my toes, because every time I thought like, okay, we're gonna flatline here, this is gonna be the same, like I know what's gonna happen, it just kind of like did something different. And it wasn't necessarily that I was um like thoroughly shocked or super surprised or anything. It just kept me on my toes, and I enjoyed that because I never knew what was gonna happen. And like I said, I ordered these volumes as they were coming out, and so as soon as like I had them all pre-ordered, and once it would come in the mail, I would read it that day. And it was that compelling of a story that I could read it several months apart between volumes because they don't come out very regularly, and was able to really enjoy each volume as I was reading them when they came out. So I highly recommend picking this one up if you haven't already. It is Dark Horse, so you never know when things are going to go out of print. But yeah, it's quite fascinating. The art is fantastic. The story was so interesting, and I really, really thoroughly enjoyed it. I will probably reread it at some point soon just to like actually read it all in one go, as opposed to the several months between volumes like I did as they were coming out. But yeah, there were some parts closer to like the end few volumes, or the mid to end volumes, where it was going to the other groups of people, that I was a bit confused about, because it does jump around to different groups a lot. Uh, and so I was like, where are they going with this? And I think that maybe part of my confusion was because I was reading them so far apart, and I'm hoping that when I reread the series all together that it will make more sense. And I feel like I was just forgetting aspects of the story as I was reading them. Because I think they were only releasing like every 3 or 4 months or something, maybe even longer than that. I'm not sure. So yeah, it feels like a long time coming to get this final volume, but it was really good. I liked the ending. I enjoyed the ride, and I look forward to rereading this at some point in the future. If you've read I Am a Hero, or you have any questions, comments, thoughts on it, leave them down below. I'd love to hear them. And yeah, thanks for watching.